Hello everyone. In this series of videos, I'm going to explain some tips and advice that I've found helpful while playing and leveling in Guild Wars 2. Some of these tips might be obvious to more experienced players, but for the most part, they are things that I wish I was aware of when I was playing in my early game experience. For this first video, I'll be talking briefly about character creation and the choices you make during this process, as well as how these choices impact your playing experience. To start with, the 5 playable races in the game are all equal in terms of mechanics. In other words, the Char don't make better warriors than the Asura. Each race does have certain aesthetics that are represented in their cultural armor, such as the Sylvari obviously being nature-themed, and as a result, their cultural armor is made from nature. Even their heavy armor is basically just sticks and leaves. In addition to the cultural armor, each race will have some racial-specific skills that are available to them, such as the Norn's ability to shapeshift into their totem animals. However, in pretty much every case, the normal class abilities that you'll gain while leveling are better than these racial skills. So in general, don't feel pressured into picking one race over the other because you think it might be better at a class than the other one. Choose whichever one you think is the coolest and go from there. Regarding classes, each one has a very unique feel and gameplay, and I'll get more into specifics about each class in other videos, but for this one, just understand that no one class is strictly better than the others. Each class has pros and cons, and each can bring different things to the table. For example, you might think of warriors as being strictly damage dealers, however they can have some skills that allow them to place banners on the ground that can provide bonuses to the group, so they can fill that support role as well as dealing damage. To be honest, the biggest factor I would use for choosing a class would be how quickly you can get access to a passive run speed increase. The ability to move faster across maps can make leveling a much more painless experience than if you were stuck at the normal run speed. In regards to that, I believe the only classes that don't get a passive skill that make them move faster are Guardians, Revenants, Engineers, and Mesmers, but each of these do get abilities that let them move faster in bursts, so really all that means is you have to work a little harder to keep up with your Ranger friends. Armor type is also a defining feature of the classes, with 3 classes per armor type. In the character creation screen, conveniently they're laid out from heavy to light starting at the top. So Warrior, Guardian, and Revenants use heavy armor, Ranger, Thief, and Engineer use medium armor, and finally Necromancer, Elementalist, and Mesmer use light armor. While each class will have their own defensive abilities and everyone has the ability to dodge, wearing heavy armor can help survive a little longer if you're still getting used to how to play the action-oriented combat of Guild Wars 2. The rest of the choices you make during character creation really only have aesthetic impacts and affect the beginning of the personal story. Essentially, these choices boil down to the background of how your character entered the stage set by the game. In this case, I chose to create a Norn Necromancer who gets a little angry and drinks a little too much. In the background of this video, I've been doing the intro to the Norn characters, and just to kind of demonstrate the action-oriented stuff I was talking about. You can see here Ysmir, I think is his name, this worm. He's winding up for that move, and you can see the dodge prevented me from getting thrown back. And I'll talk more about dodging and other defensive abilities like blocking and that sort of thing in a later video. But that is it for the first video. Hopefully you tune in for the rest of this series, and hopefully I can teach you something and you can avoid the mistakes that I made. Enjoy. Thanks.